So on we go.
I'm guessing day 46.
Is that right?
I think so.
Just extraordinary. But we are edging towards conclusions or decisions, should I say. Conclusion in Scotland. Congratulations to everybody involved with Celtic, who are champions once again. That, Andy, is 9. I can see you looking sternly at me. That is 9 in a row.
Listen, what can I say? The decision has been made.
Yes.
It would have been nice if it had been played out. It wasn't. It's not Celtic's fault. It's not anybody's fault.
No.
They've won 9 in a row. It's just up to us to make sure it's not 10.
And Budge and Hearts, of course, not as happy as I'm suggesting I am for Celtic. They're going to sue, but I mean, this is going to happen. If you call a halt, somebody's going to be upset. There are no perfect solutions.
No.
Premier League continue to discuss. I think next Tuesday, Thursday, we're going to enter.
I'm hoping. I think I tell you what the worst thing for me is, Richard, and I'm sure for the guys involved in the game, is that there has no decision being made. Make it, or don't make it. I think May the 28th.
You know my decision? I don't know what we're trying to achieve now.
I know.
Call it off. Move on. Get ready for August.
Well,
if we can, middle of August. Play on. I mean, Oliver Dowden, culture secretary. Come on, what planet's he living on? It'll stop people going out in the middle of June. No, it won't. Oliver, have you heard of technology? People will go out and watch football matches with mates in parks, on laptops and iPads and phones. I mean, this is just naivety.
Anyway, it's not going to be thrown out.
Spying squad, back page of the Mail. Snoops are drafted in by the Premier League to ensure clubs don't bend new rules of training today. This is another example of the madness that I'm talking about.
But
Troy Deeney.
Do you honestly think players are going to, even if the coaches or the club say to them, right, we want you to perform in a group today? No, sorry. No, they're not going to do it.
Well, Troy Deeney, no answers to our simple questions, says Troy. Listen, this is where I think it'll flounder. Players probably won't. Referring to the added risks to black and minority ethnic players, Deeney said, government guidelines say it's 4 times more likely for people of colour to get the illness and twice as likely to have lasting illnesses, but there's no screening. There's no additional checks being done on any player as it costs too much. Simple things like that are not being answered. That makes you start to panic. Yeah, I get it. Nigel Clough, what an honourable man. Nigel Clough and his coaching staff walk away from Burton to try and help with club finances. I said earlier, I didn't think that was necessarily the reason Graham Jones had left Luton, Andy. In this case, I do. When he got this job 4.5 years ago, he'd agreed to come and spend the weekend with us. Got the job on the Monday, took training Tuesday and Wednesday, told the chairman I'll take it as long as I can fulfil the date in Qatar with the boys, and came out here.
Yeah.
Whilst his
Unfortunately for us, his team won that weekend, which was great news for everybody.
Premier League players face a 14-day hotel isolation according to the Telegraph today. Premier League clubs will have to consider isolating players for up to 14 days in hotels before matches resume, with an inspector to be appointed for every training ground to make sure strict rules are followed. That's a different version of we're snooping. Pochettino, free to take a football club. His gardening leave has officially ended.
That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, keep a few boys on their toes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barney Ronay today, terrific piece in The Guardian. I haven't got time to read it all with you, but a really good piece. He asks the question, sporting integrity, please. I mean, I'm with him there. Martin Lipton in The Sun. I shouldn't have said that.
No, don't say that.
Martin Lipton in the newspaper that I don't often mention.
Yes.
May the 28th is D-Day.
That's it.
Premier League stall on big decisions with question marks now over restart hopes. I said this yesterday, Martin, very well connected, somebody to follow. And European football, Andy. This is another consideration no one yet has spent much time thinking about. European football faces a renewed threat, according once again to that same newspaper, after government ministers vetoed a bid to exempt sports stars from travel quarantine. Well, how do you play European football matches?
Why can't they be exempt? I'm just asking a question.
I don't know.
Right, if you're
can.
If you're Paris Saint-Germain, for instance, right, and you have to go and play somebody in Italy, south of Italy.
Well, it'll be here probably if Paris play.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you have to go and play in Italy, for instance, right? I'm guessing that everybody who's travelling with Paris Saint-Germain will be COVID-19 free when they get on that plane, which would be obviously theirs and no one else's. They would fly into the country, they would go to the hotel in safety. I mean, I don't know why that is then, that they can't just be exempt from quarantine. I'm not sure about
Dave Kidd today, for 28 years, they have grown fat in a mutual feeding frenzy. The incestuous union between Premier League and Sky Sports, one of the broadcasters in England has altered the face of English football beyond recognition. It has. And he's asking the question, how now then can Sky be demanding a £330 million rebate from the clubs, even if they finish the season? Well, we're only finishing it, in my view, so that the money that is apparently owed is paid over. Yeah. So if you're asking for a £330 million rebate, why? Season officially ended yesterday.
It did.
We were a week early.
Well,
7 days back.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
So we're now into the off season. I can't get my head around all of this. Maybe someone that can is our guest today. I'm really chuffed to bits that he's said he'll join us, and that is the Leicester City manager, Brendan Rodgers, from lockdown. Until later this afternoon, Brendan, are you going to work?
Well, we actually were. Hi, guys.
Hi, Brendan.
Yeah, we were actually in testing yesterday, and then we get the results through from that today, and then I'll go in a bit later on this afternoon.
Are you excited about seeing the boys again, or a little anxious, a little nervous, or all three?
No, I think I'd been in a few days last week, Andy. The players have been in doing individual work. The club have done an incredible job in relation to getting and passing all the sort of health and safety protocols, so that was nice to get in and see them, obviously at a distance, and I think now they're just looking forward to getting back, but of course there's going to be slow steps over these next few weeks to make sure everything is safe and well.
Sorry, Andy, are you hearing concerns from players along the lines of those that Troy Deeney has expressed, Brendan?
Not from my own group, Richard. I think that we've had a lot of communication over these last numbers of weeks. That is the one thing that we've had with the board here, with the players, captain, vice captain, and then we had a big Zoom call there on Sunday, knowing just the sort of last time we'd be together before coming back in, and I think everyone wants to give it a go. But I can totally understand why players might be a little bit concerned and worried. And of course you have to respect that. But certainly from our perspective at Leicester, the players are willing to come in. They know they're going to come into a safe environment. Like I said, the club have put together a really, really fantastic facility. All as safe and as secure as possibly can be. And like I say, they're willing, like as staff as well, to give it a go and see how we go over these next few weeks.
What's been the most difficult thing for you, Brendan, as a Premier League coach in these last 9 weeks? Is it doing nothing, or what? What's been difficult? What's the most difficult?
Well, I think purely, I think there's opportunities there, Andy, to do other things, and your fitness and study and reading. I think it's just that contact with the players and the staff. That football's like, it's very structured. You're coming in every day and you're seeing people, you have that emotional connection with people, that contact, everything, and then all of a sudden it's gone, and obviously you're trying to keep in contact with players whilst also trying to give them that bit of space as well. So you miss that connection, because that's what the game's about, and it's what leadership's about. It's about emotionally hooking with players and people, and that's the biggest thing that you miss in it all. So that's why it was great yesterday to see them all back.
Yeah, I bet you.
And we, like I said, be able to at least have that communication.
I sense, Brendan, you're very comfortable at Leicester. Have you found the right club?
It's not about it. I say it's not about the right club, but I've always tended to go to clubs where, I think I can have good relations with the players and good relations with the board, and I felt that this was a club that would give me the possibility of the challenge of taking a club into the top six. Richard, I think listen, I'm a professional, and throughout my career, my overall aim was to get to 1,000 games as a manager, and I knew that wasn't going to be at one club, and that's because that's the way the modern game works. But I had some incredible moments and unforgettable moments at Celtic, and then coming into the Premier League, it was to get to a club that obviously had a certain level of ambition, and of course, you know, it's not one of the top 6 clubs, but the big challenge was, could we take a club in there? And for me, I've absolutely loved it. Players have been great. There's ambition, you know, with the club. We can never compete financially with what would be the top 6, but we can be competitive. We move to a new training ground later on in the summer, which will be one of the best in the world. So yeah, it's been a great fit.
But Brendan, you're just over a year into Leicester, being at Leicester. So, and you, as you say, you had ambitions when you went there. You thought you could take them to where they went. But has it surprised even you, the level at what you and the players have got to this season?
Well, I think it's been the consistency has been great to see, Andy. You know, up until Christmas we were on a great run. Obviously after Christmas there's challenges with the young squad, but any bumps that we've had, we've been able to get over that. It's always refreshing when you work with a group of players. It's very similar to the Celtic group here at Leicester, where so hungry to learn. They want to be better, they want to improve, but then you also have senior players who are top class professionals, and that always helps. So yeah, it's, I wouldn't like to say surprised, because we've done a lot of hard work, and both on the pitch and off the pitch. But it's always nice, and whenever you see the fruits of your work being produced consistently.
It was a lively dressing room, Brendan, prior to your arrival. They had, of course, previously won a title, but one or two had struggled. How have you found, or what is the recipe that you found to calm things and get Leicester competing, not just top 6, but top 4 again?
Well, that was one of the ideas of coming in, Richard, that I felt that there was a really good base there of players, both young and senior players, and of course they'd gone through a really, really difficult period. Obviously, after winning the league, which was, you know, arguably the greatest story in any mode of sport. You know, that was absolutely incredible. And then there are a few years after that was difficult, and then you had the incredible sadness overcome the club with the passing of Kunvichai. So you sensed it. I think we all sensed it from the outside looking in, that there was a real shadow over it, and it must have been very, very difficult for the players and for Claude Puel at the time, and everyone involved at Leicester. What I tried to do coming in was try to shine the light on his legacy and what we could create from that. And of course, then it was coming in and having a clear vision of how we wanted to work, but with always the backdrop of Kunvichai there, because his presence, you really sense it when you come into the club. I think we all seen it from the outside looking in, but definitely when you come into the club, the effect they had on every single person was absolutely remarkable. And what I wanted to do was to use that as a cause for us going forward, and ensuring that we're making sure that his legacy is a really positive one, and shine the light on it rather than make it a dark cloud.
A couple of things that I can't avoid asking, Brendan. One is, do you look back with some regret that you didn't complete that last season at Celtic? Should you have done?
Well, there's been plenty of opinions on it, whether I should have or shouldn't have. I know that's for sure. Listen, it's one, there can be a narrative around either way, Richard. You know, you'll have people say that I should have stayed on. There's some people say, yeah, I can see why he's left, but ultimately I had to make a decision. And then these types of things, even though I'm an emotional coach, I like to work with people, and I had brilliant relations with everyone at Celtic. I felt that I'm unsentimental in a way, where I felt that the team is in a great position from when we came in, where we were leaving the club with 7 trophies, records that we broke, the stadium's full again, and the team in a winning mentality. I felt that leaving with 8 points to go, with already a cup in place, that they could go on and finish the league. And then coming to Leicester would allow me the chance to really assess them under pressure. So I think a lot of coaches, and even myself, might have said that, listen, ideal time would be pre-season, but that period at the end of the season at Leicester City was invaluable for me, because I could see the players under pressure, and then I could then get ready in the summer to then have a real crack at it this year. So listen, for me, I made the decision. Of course, it was very, very difficult because, like I said, I had some unforgettable experiences at Celtic. I grew up as a Celtic supporter, but this is my professional life, and we know how football is. It can be a ruthless business, and
too true.
And so I felt it was the time to move on. Neil's come in and done a fantastic job. He knows the club. He knew a lot of the players. And their success has continued, which I'm absolutely delighted for.
Yeah. Now, here's another one. This is your turn rather than mine. I got sent this week.
You did?
We all have to live and die by opinions.
Yes.
Richard Keys says Steven Gerrard is the victim of a Brendan Rodgers plot that drove him out of Liverpool. Now,
did you get that this week?
That got sent to me this week.
Who from?
An unnamed source.
Oh, right. Okay.
That is an opinion that I held at the time. It is one that I don't think that our guest today shares. Before you answer, before you get your chance to answer, Brendan, can I just say, if he wasn't, he should have been the previous year, and then he would never have slipped over. Good thing.
That's very harsh.
Yeah,
very
that is harsh. That is very harsh, Brendan. Absolutely, absolutely harsh.
So, what is the answer to the misinformed opinion then?
Well, I think, Richard, as always in football and media speculation, there's always stories around everything, isn't there? So,
yes.
Now, listen, Steven was brilliant for me in my time there, especially those first couple of years. You know, he was toward the latter stage of his career, and he was first class for me. So, despite what you had said at the time.
Quite right, Brendan. Give him a rap. He deserves that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't quite true. But listen, it's something that you become used to, don't you, Andy? And in this game, and there's so many stories and gossip and speculation. And like I say, it was interesting when I read that.
Yeah, obviously, Brendan, I'm grateful to you for having placed it to one side, but I did think we should bring it up, and I did think that you deserve the right to answer.
Listen, people don't forget, managers don't forget. They've got long memories, these boys. So trust me, Brendan. Let me ask you. Talking about Liverpool, you've coached when you were rising through places like Reading, like Swansea. You then get Liverpool. And then you've got Celtic, another giant of a club. But what has been the biggest difference for you as a coach in managing Liverpool to anyone else that you've coached? There must be a difference.
It's interesting, Andy, because I think in terms of Liverpool, especially from my journey through, I arrived in there at 39 as a manager, and and just straight away, the spotlight on Liverpool is huge, and obviously the time that I'd gone in there, Liverpool had just finished 8th in the Premier League, so they'd been out of the Champions League for 5 odd seasons. So there was a real big hope that we could build something that could allow the club to get back into the Champions League again. And considering in that time, you know what football's like, be one of the big clubs and you're out of it for that period of time, then of course your budget and everything else starts to be affected, and that's how it was. When I arrived in there, we had to cut the budget, and some of the players that were there had to be moved on. But I just think overall the whole spotlight on Liverpool is huge. Wherever you travel around the world, it's a real iconic club. I never forget going to Australian pre-season, and we were playing in Melbourne in the MCG, the big cricket place, and it was absolutely phenomenal. You had 96,500 supporters there, and every one of them was Liverpool. It was absolutely incredible. It was, so it's an incredible club with of course big pressures because the
yeah.
spotlight's on. You have to win every game. Celtic in another way, Andy, like we've been at Rangers, another club again with a spotlight, a big institution, maybe doesn't have the spotlight quite on us so much in terms of the league, but you know what Celtic and Rangers are like in terms of the intensity of both of those. So different pressures, but both clubs with a big pressure on them.
I have to say, Brendan, and this is another opinion I have expressed, I think you chose brilliantly on leaving Liverpool. You had to get that right. You could have made a calamitous error and you wouldn't have been in a position to make a decision whether to leave and take the Leicester job or not. It was the right club at the right time. But just go back to Anfield again. Do you think, looking back, if you'd settled for a point against Chelsea, you wouldn't have had to go chasing at Crystal Palace and ultimately you would have won that title?
I think, Richard, we were just taking each game at a time. We were playing the game how we had been playing. You think we were going into that game on the back of an 11-game win and run. The team was really high in confidence, and actually for 70 minutes of that game, we'd actually played very, very well.
Yeah, you did.
But we just couldn't get the goal. But it wasn't a case of chasing it. That was the type of team that we were. We were a front foot team, a really aggressive team, and that was our strength. And if you look at that season, it was the first time I think in the top flight that Liverpool had scored over 100 goals. So that's what was given us an opportunity. Just really unfortunate what happened. We Steven just before half time. But then probably as the game then went on, from 70 minutes onwards, we just needed a goal. We could have drew the game, but we just couldn't get the goal. And of course, that bit of anxiety. Team was really young, and we just couldn't quite make the breakthrough. The Crystal Palace game was, with all due respect, it was irrelevant in terms of Chelsea game was the one that really hurt us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sorry, Brendan, carry on.
I was just going to say, going into the Palace game, we played well in the first half, but I sensed in that game that we were actually trying to chase the goals because now it was all going to be about goal difference. And I mentioned at half time, just we win this game. Forget about trying to chase goals and score because that's what we were good at. Let's just win the game. And then very quickly into the second half, it went 2-0 and 3-0. And you just sense the momentum of the team, was looking to get the goals. But we were really comfortable in the game and played well in the game. And then, of course, the last 10 minutes was crazy. But that wasn't the game that cost us. It was the Chelsea game at home.
And if we don't get this season finished, Brendan, have Liverpool done enough to be given the title?
Yeah, I believe so. They've been the best team consistently in the country, and I think they deserve it. Absolutely, they've been first class. The level of consistency and the level that they've played at, it'd be an absolute crying shame if they weren't awarded the title. They've got 2 games to go to win it, and if we get back playing, I'm pretty sure that they would do that. But there's absolutely no doubt that they deserve it. It's just a real shame that if they do get the title, that they can't share it with the supporters how you normally would, because, like I said, they've been waiting so long. And I knew going into the last week of the season, I was there when we finished runners-up, because you've got to go through the whole preparation.
Yeah.
Because going into the last game of the season, we actually still could have won it. So that was the hard aspect of it. You were still being prepared by the Premier League that if you win it, this is what will happen. So on pitch side and everything else. But there's no doubt they deserve it, Richard.
Absolutely.
2 things. First of all, thank you for putting the record straight, and my apologies.
Well done, Brendan. I'm delighted you gave him a rap this morning. Well done.
No, just a little tickle, Andy.
And we've moved to a place where you were kind enough to join us today, and for that, honestly, really eternally grateful. Thank you very much, my friend. It's been
thank you,
fantastic, Brendan.
And listen, good luck with back training, and hopefully everything will go well and everyone will be safe.
Brilliant. Well done, guys. And Andy, I just got to say, listen, I thought it was great timing to join as well as a Celtic man to a Rangers man.
Yes.
9 in a row. So
yes, get off. Get off. We've had enough.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thanks, Brendan. I knew he'd get it in. I knew he would get it in.
Absolutely sensible. And by the way, remarkable recollection, not just of that season, but games, minutes, moments. Sensational. Honestly.
Listen, that's football, people.
Yeah, I know. But just...
It's like a golfer. You speak to a golfer. He will tell you every golf shot he's played.
Yeah, Nick Faldo never filled his card in. Nick Faldo would play a round of golf and fill the card in when he came off. And I used to say to myself, how can you do that? Because they play golf differently to the way we play it.
Yes, they do.
My 9s and 6s and 7s would...
you've not got many 9s in your card these days, son. In fact, you've not got anything in your card these days.
No, we're back here tomorrow, beIN Sports, same time, same place. YouTube, you know exactly where to find us now if you're viewing internationally. Thank you for your company today. And we repeat, as ever, we always say it.
Stay safe, everyone.
See you tomorrow.